All right, you guys ready for this?
Ink Ribbon.
So Resident Evil 3 isn't just like revealed, it's coming very, very soon. So this is just excitement, speculation, and mostly my own opinion. You can agree or disagree with it, but just take it with a grain of salt. I don't work at Capcom, okay? Awesome. So I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that they're worried because they feel like Resident Evil 3 Remake was really rushed, when in reality a lot of people don't know that it was actually being developed alongside Resident Evil 2 Remake. So that's why it was able to come out 1 year later. It's because they were already working on it. So don't worry too much about that. It seems to be something they planned, and they were very sneaky. And you want to know how I know they planned this? Because the Resident Evil 2 Leon statue goes with the Resident Evil 3 Jill statue, and I wasn't gonna, like, I was on the fence about the collector's edition for this version, and now I'm like, oh damn it, like I shouldn't be spending this money. But anyway, they did release a survey for the Resident Evil Ambassador program, and it was just one question. All they asked was what we were more curious to know about, and I said bioweapons and enemies, because after they changed the Ivy monster and removed the spiders and the giant moth, I was like, what else are they gonna change? I don't know. So let's talk about the gameplay. For the most part, it looks like the gameplay is a lot like the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is great. It's good, we like that. I did see people commenting that they were worried that the game was gonna be in first person because of the trailer, and I don't think they're completely wrong. I think the opening might be in first person for like when you're in Jill's apartment. It could probably serve as like a tutorial thing or something like that. And it injects a little bit of that like Resident Evil 7 flavor, because Resident Evil 7 was a great game, but it's not Resident Evil, you know? Now, I have gotten some tweets and comments and messages telling me that the dodging ability from Resident Evil 3 is back. I haven't been able to confirm that yet, so hopefully it is. Another thing I've been seeing comments on is that there's mixing of ammo again, which is very interesting, but that was also present in the Resident Evil 2 remake, so I don't know if it's going to be the same or if they're going to upgrade it, but it's always fun to kind of mix ammo, and it's cool because the player gets to choose what they want to make. What I really liked about Resident Evil 7 that I kind of wish they would introduce in this is the mixing of different chemicals. You were able to choose whether you are going to make ammo or make health items, and that's a great thing for survival horror, because sometimes you need one more than you need the other. You know, when you're like dying and you've got all this ammo, it'd be nice to have a healing item, but if you can't find one, you're screwed. But if you can make one, then hey. So we'll see if that's introduced. Will it cross paths with Resident Evil 2? Probably not any more than it did in the original. Obviously, we saw in the trailer you go into the RPD and that whole thing, but because the characters in Resident Evil 2 never ran into any of the characters in Resident Evil 3, I don't think that's going to happen. Resident Evil Resistance was included. I mean, you guys saw my reaction. But that just like, whoa, crazy. But, okay. I know how the game industry works. I have a degree in game design. I had to learn all this marketing crap. I think that it was a combination of Resistance not living up to Capcom standards, and also just fans were not having it. And I know this because I seem to be the only person excited about it. So the fact that they included it is kind of evidence of that, because what happens is normally when projects aren't good, they just are scrapped or discontinued, but Capcom, I guess, decided to throw it in to make the fans happy, which is a great PR move. Now, a lot of people are wondering if this is going to replace the Mercenaries mode. I don't know. I hope not. But they seem to be completely separate things, so I highly doubt that it's going to replace anything in Resident Evil 3. I think it's just an addition. One more thing I want to mention about Project Resistance is it looks like they added 2 new characters without telling anyone. So now we have a young kid who everyone keeps referring to Stranger Things with, and we have a girl that I can only describe as if all of Claire's alternate like Western cowboy looking outfits became their own character, that's what she is. She's just like a cowgirl. Okay. We all love Brad because he gave us the special key in Resident Evil 2, and he was killed by the Nemesis, and it looks like they gave him a much bigger part in this version, which is great because like I wanted to see more of Brad. It was really sad that he died so early in the game. It's probably going to happen exactly the same way. A lot of people have been speculating that the helicopter that crashes into the side of the RPD is going to be Brad, but I highly doubt that because his death to the Nemesis is just so iconic, and it sort of shows the player what the Nemesis is capable of. It sets up the danger, so it'd be very, very unlikely that they would change that, but you never know. They changed other things in the Resident Evil 2 remake. He also seems to have a little bit of character change because he's known as being a coward. I mean, his nickname is Chicken Heart, but in this one he seems to be like he's a cop. He's like, directing pedestrians, like, come on guys, which by the way, there's like humans running around, which is cool. I don't know how long they'll last, but maybe there's like a rescuing people thing. But anyway, it's cool to see Brad like, manning up and be like, yeah, like I'm a cop. I got to take charge of the situation instead of just running and screaming. So it looks like Mikael is injured just like before, but I mean, he looks great, he sounds great, and it looks like it's going to be a very sort of more emotional character bond with Jill, because I mean, they barely had any time together, but they really just like forced that that connection in the original game, so we'll see. Another guy that got more screen time was the guy that just gets killed immediately by Nikolai in the newsroom, in the whatever that room is where you have to use the TV remote. Like Nikolai just shoots him because he was turning into a zombie. Like he's actually talking now, and from the trailer it looked like he was somewhere else, like he was like in a garage or something instead of that office area, so I don't know, something changed there for sure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And while Nikolai was not seen in the trailer, IGN did release this photo of him, so in case you're wondering what Nikolai looks like, there you go. We haven't seen any more of him than that. And now let's talk about Carlos. I know that you guys are very mixed, more negative than positive. A lot of people are really mad about Carlos's redesign, and I can't blame them because regardless of your taste, it's a huge change. I mean, there's like changing a character's clothes or like maybe some aspects of their personality, but this is a full-on redo. This is like they crumpled up the paper, threw it away, and started over. And I personally love his redesign. I think now he's very interesting and a lot more realistic. And to me, it's like the opposite of the Resident Evil 5 thing with Chris, because with Chris in Resident Evil 5, they like took a skinny dude and made him into like a bodybuilder. And in this one, they took like a 90s macho, cheesy, hunky dude, like a Fabio type, and turned him into a normal person, which I prefer. I really like it. I know that a lot of people don't, but I don't know what to tell you. Like, so I am from El Paso, Texas, which is right on the border of Mexico, and I am half Mexican myself, and I was in a city where like more than 80% of the population was Hispanic. And I went to high school with guys who look exactly like this Carlos redesign. I mean, it's pretty realistic. It's a faithful redesign, but I know that a lot of people don't like change, and I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way it is. I'm still really salty about Claire's sleeves being gone from her classic costume in the Resident Evil 2 remake, but I guess I'll just get over it. And a really funny thing about the Carlos redesign is he looks almost exactly like my roommate in college, which is just hilarious to me. But anyway. So we've already seen plenty of the Nemesis. So many people complaining about this. I have never seen like Resident Evil fans so worked up about a nose, but I get it. You guys, you like things the way they are. I mean, I guess it is a little weird because it's just like a Mr. Potato Head sideways nose, but I don't know, like the Nemesis originally had like a little bit of a nose. I don't know. I think his teeth are really scary. I kind of wish they looked more like those Resident Evil 3 advertisements where they were like sort of pointed and jagged. But I always thought the Nemesis looked kind of cool and maybe a little cute. Like it was like, oh, Nemesis. Now he just looks absolutely terrifying, and I definitely want to run away from him, and I guess that was their goal. The thing that I was most worried about was how he was going to sound, because if you remember in the Dark Side Chronicles or Umbrella Chronicles, whichever one it was, he sounded so bad. He was like, "Stars!" And it was like, what the fuck? Stars! You can barely hear him in the trailer, but he does say stars, and it sounds okay. It sounds like half the original game and then half of the bad ones. It's like right in the middle, so it's not too like stars, but it's also not like stars. It's stars. I don't know. I can't do it. And lastly, we're going to talk about Jill. Okay, number one thing to get out of the way. Everyone is freaking out because she's not wearing a tube top and skirt, which I get it. Aesthetics, you know, she was like, you know, tantalizing, and it was the 90s and we're all young boys being like, ooh. But like, you have to remember what she was wearing was so impractical. Like, running around in a tube top, you're just asking for like a boob to be popping out every 5 minutes. And I'm sure some of you would love that, but Resident Evil's not that kind of game. And a lot of people are like, oh, they changed her outfit and they put pants and they put a tank top. Let me just show you what I Googled when I looked up Jill redesign from, this is not official artwork, this is fans like doing like, this is what she would look like if I redesigned the game. As you can see, there's like a lot of parallel thinking because so many people did almost exactly what she looks like in the remake. It's just practical. I mean, she looks like a cop now. She's giving off Major Scully vibes, you know? So I'm okay with it. And for those people who are worried about Carlos and Jill's redesign, if you pre-order the game, you get the classic costumes included. Now, a lot of people are confused about that, so let me explain. Pre-ordering does not mean paying more money for the game. It means you like give them $5 now and then pay the rest later, but you're not paying more. You're just like reserving your copy. So as long as you do that, which you're gonna buy the game anyway, so why wouldn't you? Then you'll have the costumes, no extra charge. So it's cool, at least in America. I don't know about other countries, but that's how it should work. Now, another thing about Jill, which is also the same reason Claire's voice actress is not the same, is that they went non-union, which is a whole nother thing, but that means that Julia Voth, who has always been the face model for Jill, and she was replaced because, you know, union stuff. So, I don't know, I think the new Jill looks fine, maybe a bit generic, but she still looks and sounds like Jill. She gives off Jill vibes, and that's what's important. The aesthetic and the core of the character is still there, so I'm on board with that. Now, there's a big change that they did that I'm really happy for that I didn't even think of. But in the trailer, you see Jill seeing herself in the mirror and she's like zombified and she's like hallucinating and freaking out. That's great. I think she might be under some sort of house arrest, or maybe she was just told to stay home or ordered, I don't know. But you have to remember, she survived Resident Evil 1, and that was such a traumatizing experience. Anybody who went through that would be like really messed up in the head. I mean, teammates that she's been friends and almost family with for like years and years were brutally like murdered in front of her, like freaking picking up pieces of them, and then they get up and start walking around trying to kill her, and then, you know, just, that's a lot. I mean, imagine going through that. You would be really messed up. So I don't know how much of that they're going to inject. I hope it's not like overdone, because she is, you know, Jill, and we don't need her to be like constantly like whining. We don't need another Lara Croft situation going on. Like, just give her a little bit of trauma and then we'll just move on with the game, you know? So that is all I have to say. I waited until the trailer came out because I knew it was going to before I made a video, and I am so excited. I don't know what updates there are going to be, but I'm probably not going to really talk about this game until it's out because, one, I don't want to spoil it for myself, and two, like, it's coming so soon. It's just a couple months. We can all wait and chill. But if any huge developments come out, I'll let you guys know. And if you're new here, I invite you to check out the rest of my channel. I have a ton of Resident Evil and Silent Hill and other survival horror stuff because that's my flavor. So if you're new here, welcome. So we will wait until April to play Resident Evil 3 Remake. But until then, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to my bronze, silver, and gold Patreon supporters. Thanks to you, I can make videos without worrying about demonetization and grow my channel faster.